And we are back now in round two. And actually going into game two here between Lights Out and Merlyn. The lads, they got a little bit preemptive. They wanted to get a game in first. We're only going to be able to see 3 games here. Oh, it's such a shame.
They took off.
Go on.
I said they took off before us, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's almost like there's not only one team here going at the speed of light, you know? There's 2. They're just 3 actually, because there's 2 in the pitch. But yeah, they're just absolutely rocketing ahead. Nomad, Aeon, and of course Laz going up against Tarko, Ralph, and E-Tech. Clearly a little bit of insight here because we do know the score of that first game being 3-1 in favor of Lights Out. You know these teams a little bit, you know?
Yes.
Just a little insight.
Well, I guess the only team that I've really seen that we've seen kind of proven themselves is Lights Out and Nomad, Aeon, and Laz. Again, they went through their rival play-ins and they got pretty far. I think they got to their last game to qualify in. I'm not surprised to see the first game go 3-1 against 3-1 for Lights Out against Merlyn here. We haven't seen too much against Merlyn. I've seen Tarako and Ralph, actually all 3 of these players, Tarako, Ralph, and E-Tech play. Very mechanically sound players, obviously, but I think for Lights Out, it's their teamwork that really shines in their games.
Mm-hmm.
They try and play off each other quickly. In the air, especially, something that I've noticed about the Lights Out team is they do like to play through the air and find each other in the air. They're very fast to get up, and I think that's one of the strengths that they've had compared to Merlyn. Of course, for Merlyn, I haven't seen them play too much. This is a relatively new team, but I have seen the players, like I said. And for all 3 of the players, they're very sound, very good players, and I would expect this team to be very good.
Yeah, they're, like you said, the passing plays from Lights Out, and then Merlyn, forming from Tarako, who I've seen time in, time out, being from that Mirage Ghost roster. And it's just unfortunate that they sort of split up because I was a massive fan of them. You know, they were there at the last Northern Arena, funny enough, being that 8th team, you know, that had to qualify through and then was formed together. And they grinded for so long and just couldn't get on through to RORS. It's like they reached that ceiling, didn't they? So they've sort of split up, formed their own team. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing now.
Yeah, and this is one of those teams that are trying to find if they think they're going to be good enough to get through those plans. They're trying to figure out, do they have the synergy? Do they like the way each other play? And again, the Spring Open is such a great opportunity for these guys, and they're going against a great team in Lights Out here in round number 2. Obviously, they've already gone down down 3-1 in the first game here, but I would expect them to bounce back. Lights Out, though, if I'm them, you want this 4-0. They've already proven that they can defeat this team in pretty convincing fashion. A 3-1 is very competent. I think Lights Out is definitely going to take this series, but it's up to them to see if they're going to get a 4-0, a clean 4-0.
Yeah, well, the only thing we've got left to ask is actually if chat has any sort of predictions going on further into this. What do they think is going to sort of like happen in this game? Who's going to be the star players here? For me, Corelli, it's definitely got to be Nomad and Tarko coming into this. But without further ado, we are underway. Massive kickoff demo coming out from Nomad there. Tarko trying to get this out of the corner, but the pressure already being applied there. E-Tech with the drop down. That's a nice 50-50 from Tarko as Ralph gets that off to the side, and you can see the chase beginning. At the start here, we're expecting a lot of poking at each other, but these 2 teams, they're just going straight into it, full throttle.
Yeah, oh my goodness, look at that pinch from Ralph. I was not expecting that, but for Merlyn here, what they need to do is make sure they don't give up the first goal. They've already gone down the first game, and it's such a confident boost. The statistics point to giving up the first goal leads generally to a loss. They don't want that to happen here in game number 2, being down a game already.
Laz looking to get us around the corner. Nomad with the pass into the middle. These aerial plays we were talking about earlier, of course, coming from Lights Out. E-Tech going for the dribble, but blocked out by Laz. Nomad, you can see it, he's just waiting, but Ralph, masterful control there. The problem was his teammate wasn't on the same page. Ball lingering in center. Laz can't put it away. Nomad can't either, and Ralph just thanking his lucky stars that he was waiting in the corner for that ball.
And a fantastic play coming out from Lights Out. They have this midfield pass coming across in front of the box. It was a free shot. It was blocked away by the last defender, and it was a struggle for Merlyn. You've already seen in the first minute here, unable to clear the ball efficiently and quickly, and Lights Out are going to capitalize and at least make a play out of it every single time.
Tarko on the ball, getting blocked out by Nomad. Itek couldn't get the connection, and Ralph being given a lot of time, so whiffs it here. He's looking for a pass, then it just didn't connect right. Nice little bounce off the ceiling from Laz. Itek being very patient. I'm liking that in both sides there. Lots of patience in the defense.
And I like to see the physicality come out from Ralph. There's been a couple demos already on both sides. But for a team like Lights Out, who are so quick in the air, getting in front of them, bumping them, even demoing is so crucial for Merlyn.
Nomad trying to slow the ball down, wait for Aeon to move forward. It's a little too slow and obvious to read, so defense was able to get that away. Itek with the pinch. Laz will be able to follow that on through. Aeon, nice pickup past Ralph, but the bump does connect, and Tarko will pick that up. Hands on over for Nomad, and this is a really scrappy game so far, where both teams just really struggling to get those shots on target and then get that control.
Well, and Merlyn's struggling to get control in the offensive third. You've seen Lights Out a couple times. 2 or 3 balls are going off the backboard. 2 or 3 touches are coming in for teammates on Lights Out, and not extended pressure is coming in from Merlyn, and Lights Out's doing a great job of that right now.
Yep, demos is well coming up from Lights Out. That was just near enough 2 in a row. Maybe that's the key to winning this game. Get a little bit physical, Tarko. Into the wall, looking for Itek, and Itek just clearing that away. He wants to follow through, but Nomad does cut it on out. Tarko getting a bit physical himself. Merlyn are into this. They're getting a bit feisty as Aeon takes this up high into the air. Laz following on through. Don't really know what he's doing there. It was a very ambitious attempt. He's turned the ball around. Laz being able to deal with that quite nicely, getting these blocks in, letting the opponents move a bit forward, maybe a little bit of overconfidence.
I like the last 30 seconds we saw from Merlyn. A lot more forays into the final third here. They're pushing the ball down, making it tough for this Lights Out team to clear it. They're having extended pressure. They're putting shots on net. This is the type of gameplay that we want from Merlyn, to put Lights Out on the back foot.
And that's it. Lights Out coming into this, it wouldn't have been a long shout to think of it being a 4-0. And Merlyn, they are up to the challenge. Not a single goal has been scored this game, and it's not for a lack of, full-on respect. Really, you normally see that, don't you, where you come into a game where these teams know each other so well, they just play that defensive game. No, this has just been full, pedal to the metal, just having a hammering at each other, not being able to find the net, though.
Yeah, you might say, okay, sure. We look at Merlyn, they played a little bit more defense than Lights Out, but the rule of thumb is, yeah, you don't want to play more defense, but when it's 0-0, it's okay. They've had a couple opportunities. Merlyn have gone down the field and had multiple opportunities, this being one of them, but Lights Out cannot find the back of the net, and the longer this game goes 0-0, I think it more benefits Merlyn.
Especially since Lights Out are now sitting at 3-1 after that first game, so they're now 1-0 ahead, and they just can't score a single thing. That was a nice attempt. Laz coming on through. It's going to have no power to it. Itek off to the wall, following it through into the corner. That will bounce in front of, and then Itek, unfortunately, not getting any power on the hit, and the defense clears it away. Laz going to be needed once again with a long shot. Itek, though, he is all about this pitch, not only being a striker, but a savior in the net.
Yeah, Itek is such a fast player. He gets down and back the field. You just saw him. He was on the offensive, and then he was back to save the shot from Lights Out. He's all over for this team right now in Merlyn.
Itek intercepting that as well, and Laz not going to be able to connect a pass downfield. Ralph, I like that he's slowing the game down. He's trying to get that control, let Tarako get behind him, and Itek get back, start that third man position. Really, rotations from Merlyn have been really good so far in this game. Tarako putting a shot on, but Aeon able to put that to the corner. Attack still continues. Ralph goes high, and there, Tarako getting the demo. Gonna keep this attack going. Lots of pressure from Merlyn in this game too, and Ralph will keep it going. Lots of midfield control. Laz and Aeon double committing up into the air for that. That could be dangerous as the ball goes back, but Nomad handles very well.
I like this pressure from Merlyn, and if I'm lights out, I'm going to start to sweat a little bit. Merlyn's really turned up the pressure here in this first minute and a half of overtime, and lights out have struggled to push the ball down the field. Merlyn's starting to come together very quickly here in game 2.
Yeah, we've got to think this is game 2. This is overtime as well. We have not seen a goal yet for a collective. Oh no, Caster's curse coming in Corelli. At that moment, there had to be a blunder.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ralph getting dunked by Nomad. E-Tech couldn't react in time. It just dropped down in front of Aeon's face. He gets the goal, and the second game, 2 games now, going over to lights out.
Yeah, 2-0 to lights out, and not for a lack of trying from Merlyn there, who was so close. Game, it was just 50-50. We're talking about this sort of like Mirage Ghost not being able to find the team that sort of works, and Tarako here, he might have just, found his ticket into upping his game, getting into that sort of next level, getting into that bubble tier, sort of top 16 team.
And looking back on this game, I can't say that Merlyn played that bad of a game. I think honestly they played a great game. And that overtime, they were in full control. I think the first minute of regular time was really scary for them. I think they were trying to get their bearings still. Maybe the break between game 1 and game 2. But coming into that overtime, Merlyn really started to turn it on. You see the pressure coming in for them. Lights out couldn't do much about it. They were struggling to get the ball at them. They need to carry that into this next game here, because for Merlyn, that's the type of gameplay that will take down this lights out team.
Merlyn would just... For me there, Corelli, I don't know if you'll agree, they were just a little too safe, I think.
Well, they had a lot of shots go just above the goal. So putting it on target is so powerful. Even if it's an easy save, it just forces a save from the other team. And there weren't too many shots on target per se. Nothing was really that hard to save from lights out, and even not even having to be saved just came off the backboard. So maybe a little bit more in shot accuracy would help Merlyn just to put it on target, force a save, even an easy one from lights out.
Well, game 3 is afoot. Remember, this is Swiss rounds. There are only 4 games to be played in each round, so we're halfway through. And 30 seconds on into game 3. Not a goal yet. Corelli, I'm hoping it's not going to be another, 1-goal game. I want to see more. The long shot coming out will find the target. What?
Well, it could be a 1-goal game off of that. This is such a weird play because Nomad was just trying to put it on net. He didn't see E-Tech there. The full rotation doesn't come through from lights out. Everyone was already pushed up. You see Aeon trying to get back in time, but just the dunk from E-Tech's enough, and luckily it was on target, and Merlyn goes up 1-0.
Yeah, they're not the goals we expect to see here, and Aeon really confused about how he's actually trying to get back to goal. He's like wave dash, side rolling, I don't know. Maybe it's some new trick he's trying to work on out. And here, when there's money online, when there's, E-Tech was not expecting this to get on through, and somehow he's just bamboozled the defense.
So we see here from Merlyn, this is the shots that we saw in the last overtime, right up over the crossbar, but this time E-Tech's there to follow it up and put it away. And it's okay to have those backboard shots as long as you have someone to follow it up. Merlyn executes it perfectly there.
Yeah, I don't know why Aeon didn't come out to contest that. Just sort of like let it happen. Lights out now, 2 goals down in game number 3. You could see the further climb from Merlyn as it just took 1 goal for them to start getting into the swing of things. Ralph coming on around to save the day. Nomad with the shot. That's out for Laz and Tarko. Great block from him as he starts a charge. He's got 1, beat 2. Oh my, that one was too strong for him to handle.
And I like the play from Tarako, bringing it down, forcing a defender to come to him. That's a skill that not very many people take advantage of, is just bringing the ball down and dribbling it straight up the field, force a defender to come to you. It makes it so much harder for the defense to keep their shape. And we see here with Merlyn up 2 goals right now, they're in a comfortable lead. They've done well, and they have a lot of pressure so far in this first 2 minutes of the game. They just need to keep playing their game, play the way they have, and not give up shots like that. Luckily, E-Tech's there to bail them out.
Luckily, E-Tech is everywhere to be able to do everything, it seems. The rest of the team, don't get me wrong, they're doing the mid sort of ground, but E-Tech is just, he's working the ends. He's like a nice winner. Ball being dropped by Tarako, really just trying to keep that ball away from the Merlyn backline, where it has finally reached. The ball lofted into the center. Laz not thin, and Nomad is there to back him up. E-Tech with a pass over the Ralph. That's with a long shot. Aeon being able to reach it. Took his time to get to that ball. You could see a lot of control, knowing where he wanted it to be placed. Laz, E-Tech there to keep it out. And you'll see the ceiling shot not come through. Ralph, because it's in his end, can get onto that rather quite easily, rather quite nicely, clears it downfield. And yeah, you can see Merlyn now just playing that offensive game. They're not looking for another goal. They're just looking to keep the ball out of their own net.
And it's important, though, for Merlyn to not turtle up. And what I mean by that is obviously just sit back and wait for Lights Out to come in. Like I said, keep up the pressure that they've had does so much for them here, because not only does it keep Lights Out on the back foot, but it suppresses a lot of attacks that Lights Out could put together. And as you've seen throughout this game, they're meeting this Lights Out team in the midfield over and over again. They're forcing Lights Out to use so much boost just to clear the ball, and they don't give too easy opportunities.
Almost looked like an easy opportunity there, but the team able to cover. And yeah, it's just keeping control of that midfield, because whichever team gets control of that midfield near enough to result in getting a goal. Lights Out just not able to break down the Merlyn defense, it seems. Nomad going with a slow hit. Tarako trying to get it out. He does get a nice block up in the air. Lots of thought into that. You can see as well, Lights Out getting much more aggressive as they needed 2 goals. 1 minute, 4 seconds remaining. Merlyn and E-Tech actually get themselves a hat-trick.
Yeah, and E-Tech just beats everyone down the field, but the difference maker in this game for Merlyn has been the control of the midfield. How many times have we seen Lights Out string passes together? How many times have they been able to meet the ball down the field and they're attacking third? Not too many times, because Merlyn has done such a good job of getting in front of the ball and preventing anything from moving down the field without a player touching it.
Yeah, you just had Ralph make a block near enough on the court away line in the Lights Out half, not purely trying to get a goal, but just keep that pressure going, keep that ball away from his net. Demo's coming out there, and they're not looking for goals here, they're just looking to thwart Lights Out at every single turn. Tarako moving this down to the corner. He does have E-Tech in the middle, but the demo comes out from Laz. Nomad with the long shot, that'll loop up, but not over Ralph as he's able to get that away. Puts on a fantastic block. Oh, that's a miss hit from Laz. E-Tech still hungry for goals, picks up his 4th.
And this is a dominating win for Merlyn, and that's just an overextension coming out from Lights Out, a couple whiffs coming in for them, and honestly at this point doesn't make too much of a difference. It's tough to score 3, now 4 goals in 18 seconds here for this Lights Out team, but Merlyn have played such a good game, and I said it before in the overtime of last game. If they can bring that gameplay into this game, they're going to win, or at least do well, and they've done both. They've won and they've played extremely well.
Merlyn just really not a team that you would think could knock down one of the top dogs like Lights Out. They've done it in 1 game, but like we said before, this Swiss tournament doesn't mean that, you know, they're on for a reverse sweep. Those sort of 2 points are locked in essentially for Lights Out. Merlyn here are fighting to near enough draw it on out and then get some points of their own. Each game really matters here, and Merlyn, they're really proving that, okay, they may have lost a game or 2, but they can still get back into it, and it's that mental grip which really looking good for this side, Corelli.
Yeah, and for Merlyn right now, this is exciting. They lost their first game and their first 2 games. Now coming into their 3rd game, they finally get a win. They have an opportunity to at least split the series in a 2-2 fashion here against Lights Out. On the other side of things, if you're Lights Out, this has started to slip away from them. That was not the game that we would expect from Lights Out, and that was extremely poor from them. So if I'm Lights Out, you take a look at their shots. They have 6 shots, but how good were those shots? They have 4 saves on the other side for Merlyn. I didn't see too many passing plays, and most importantly for Lights Out, the way they play through each other in the air, controlling that midfield is so important for them. So if they just grab even the slightest bit of control of the midfield over Merlyn, I think they would at least put a goal on the board.
I definitely like to see Lights Out use that backboard as more. You saw near enough all their shots were either long shots or they were just aimed straight at the goal. Try and pull out those defenders, right, Crowley?
Absolutely. And you talk about a player who has played so well for Merlyn and has really been a one-man show is Etek. We saw in the last game scoring all the goals for Merlyn. If I'm Lights Out, I'm trying to shut him down. Force him to make a hard save or force him to use all of his boost. Make him irrelevant in your play or your drive down the field.
Well, game number 4 is underway. 2-1 effectively to Lights Out. Merlyn just with a dominant performance last game. Lights Out have to shut that down because every point matters. Demos are a nice way to start that shutdown. Ralph though, nice back post defended from him. Tarko with the drop, Etek looking to follow that through. He does have 100 boost, but that don't matter if the ball gets blocked and sent away from you. Nice pinch from Ralph as that's right down into the Lights Out corner. Nomad and Tarko just leaving that ball lingering. 2 whiffs result in favor for Lights Out. Ralph not going to get a nice clear away, but pass from Nomad, he had the opportunity at net. Put it up way too slow and way too high for a follow through.
And this is a good start from Lights Out. They already have control of the midfield. They have control of those midfield boosts. They're pushing the ball down the field. They're forcing poor saves from Merlyn. They need to keep that pressure up. The goal will come. They're smart enough. They're good enough to put it on target away from those defenders. But they just need to get that first goal. That'll give them all the confidence and all the pressure in this game.
Yeah, and we just saw their Merlyn really overconfidence. All 3 players in their opponent's half, and that shot coming out from Aeon trying to make it the whole way down the field. It was unfortunate it didn't connect, but a few more of those could result in goals. And Lights Out are playing this 4th game really quite smart, linking up with each other very effectively and then waiting for their moments to strike.
So yeah, it's already been a better game for Lights Out, but it's 0-0 still. We're 2 minutes in. And Merlyn, they're just waiting for their chance. When do they come off the gas pedal and Lights Out? How many more times can they make these great drives down the field? And for Merlyn, it just takes one, and they can split this series with Lights Out.
Ball bouncing into middle. Ralph with the drop. There's the first goal. This time being scored by Ralph. He got a little bit bored of Etek scoring them all, so he's had a chance of his own.
And this is what I was just talking about. They're just waiting for their opportunity. Lights Out had all the pressure in the first couple minutes, and they weren't able to get a goal. The first good look that Merlyn get, Ralph's able to put it away.
Tarko not going to be able to connect for the wall pinch. Etek nicely put into the corner. Brilliant. We see that way too much in the sort of like lower weekly sort of like tournaments where everyone just wants to clear it frantically out. But keeping it into your own corners means you can get follow-up hit and then more control and start a build-up, doesn't it?
Well, when the great teacher in Quinn Lobdell always said that clearing it to the corner is the safest spot you can put it on the map. And it is true to an extent. Putting it into the corner, hey, if that defender can put that ball away from the corner, that is one hell of an angle for them. So clearing it to the corner is so safe, even when you're out of boost, even when you're out of position.
Well, the ball's back into said corner. Ralph is just near enough and given an opportunity. You can see Tarko coming through, looking for that long shot. Can use on out the Lights Outside, who are trailing by a goal. They've got to do something. Lots of bumping coming out, and unfortunately for Lights Out, they've all committed. But fortunate for them, no one able to get the follow through from Merlyn. Ball near enough just cleared away there. Etek though, keeping this pressure going. He's been phenomenal just chasing down his opponents. He is so fast in that octane.
He's quick. He's been doing everything up and down the field for this Merlyn team. It's been tough for Lights Out just to deal with Etek alone, let alone his teammates.
Ball into middle AM with the high ball. Lasball follow. Going for a double touch. Maybe no. That's a handover in possession. That's not what you want coming into the last minute of the game when you're a goal down. Ball into the center. Nomad with the pop shot. It is off that backboard. Laz with no touch at all. Nomad trying to make it work. He's got the pop. He's putting it into the middle. But Tarko straight on past. One man in defense, and Laz is able to handle the fire that is being dished out to him, chasing it on down. Fortunately, Merlyn, as always, a wall on that back line.
And Lights Out having trouble that Merlyn had earlier on was just so many shots going off the backboard, so many shots going in front of the goal line, but not falling for them. All that pressure for nothing right now for Lights Out.
Lights Out. Actually, a goal down in this series, which is the all-important factor to try and get those little extra winning points in the Swiss rounds. You need to get at least one to square it up. There it is from Aeon, being real tricksy, playing the mind games on the attack.
It wasn't the most pretty goal there, but a great touch by Laz. Both those two defenders thought he was going to take the shot, but he drops it down for Aeon, who gets to put it into open space. It's a wide open shot. And late here in this game, Lights Out finally get their first goal.
Who knows? We've already seen one overtime, due a second one, I do think, with how close this entire series has been. Ralph looking to clear it away. That ball's going to hit the ground, and the fabled overtime has been granted to us.
And game 4 overtime, and honestly, to sound cliche, I really can't call it. Both these teams really have had great opportunities, both sides of the field. Lately, it's been Lights Out. Can Merlyn fight back? They've taken one good chance and they put it away, but they really haven't seen a second one ever since.
No, the only thing you can really bank on is if it's a goal from Merlyn, E-Tech's going to be involved. That's the only thing I can really call it.
That's a safe bet.
Well, E-Tech looking to put this in the corner. He wants the follow through. Nomad with a little bit of a wonky here. It worked. Tarko getting that bump on Laz. Ralph looking to start this up, but he handed it over to Nomad. All just going back and forth. These two teams not wanting to overcommit into anything. They're really respect for each other, knowing what their opponents can do. That's an up and over, and unfortunately, the experience of Lights Out will shine on through.
Yeah, unfortunate. Tarako actually just missing that ball to put it up the wall. Next defender gets beat, and it's Laz who gives his team a game-winning goal here. Lights Out take Merlyn down 3-1 here in their series. A close one for Merlyn. You look at the series and you say, okay, 3-1. Obviously, Lights Out did great, but man, that was such a close series for Merlyn.
Yeah, Merlyn there. I don't think that's going to be, like, on that performance, I don't think that's going to be the last we sort of see of them. Like, they have really impressed me here, and if they get into the top 8, I wouldn't be surprised, really.
Absolutely not. I mean, they play against one of the favorites here very closely. Like I said, I think this is a fair, I would say if they played the series over and over again, it might be a 2-2 every single time. This 3-1 is definitely not a representation of how good the Merlyn team is. And I agree with you. I could expect these guys in top 8.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to have a quick little look at the rest of the series going on. We've only really got one confirmed game, it looks like, and that being Splice losing. I repeat, losing to the Bodis, which is Faded, Madness, and Mektos. Corelli, I wasn't expecting that.
I wouldn't expect it either because I haven't seen that team play before, and I honestly don't recognize a couple of those names on that team. So I'm interested to know what happened in that match. Is, you know, Spice is definitely a favorite here in this Spring Open, and going down like that, I'm not too sure.
Ooh. Well, Debodis, if any of you lads saved your replays, send them our way so we can, you know, see. We're pretty damn intrigued here because we want to know how you toppled down one of the giants in these qualifiers. But Crowley, that is the wonders of an open sort of like qualifier, an open bracket, where these lads sort of can finally have a little taster of the big tournaments, and maybe this is their turning point. This is the bit that makes them become big themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, teams taking down Splice, that's a big deal. Splice is a fantastic team. We've talked about them enough, but we got a couple more series to go through. So I'm interested to see, you know, how does Splice pan out? How does this Debotis turn out? So, you know, okay, Splice may lose this game, but, you know, they got another series at least to go through.
Yep, and well, we've got another game to go get set up. We're going to be heading on over to a break, guys. If you want to hear more of our voices, if you want to see more Rocket League, make sure you hit that follow button right above. And of course, if you want to support us, there's the subscription button above as well. as a nice little store. You know, there's some rival leggings, which I'm sure Corelli has a pair of in his wardrobe. But from both of us, we'll see you after this break.